It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. I know this video is very, very late, but there's a reason for that. Had to deal with work, and that lasted way too long. But I'm here now, and we can finally do the last two movies of this weekend. The first, well, both of them are re-releases, but the first one we're talking about is Jaws. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros, Jaws. What do I need to say, really? I mean, Jaws is a classic, one of the most iconic movies of all time. It was a movie that kind of originated the summer blockbuster, It's been parodied to death. Everyone knows the line, we're going to need a bigger boat. Like, I can go on. Right. So Jaws is in many people would agree Jaws is cinema, is absolute cinema. So with that, because of that, there is an appeal of watching it like on a big screen, especially today's modern big screens. So I consider that to be a pro. Jaws is iconic status, and the fact that because it's so iconic, people want to watch that on a more modern, bigger screen. So I consider that to be a pro. Another pro I can think of is competition. It's not there at all. Majority of the movies that are out right now are very old. Some by a few weeks, some by, well, in Top Gun Maverick's case, a few months. So, yeah, and so, well, although there are a lot of options out there, a lot of the options you've probably seen already. You've had plenty of chances to see them. So, and besides, like September, the whole month of September isn't looking that hot. It's about on par with August, which is not good. So competition overall is very weak, which is probably why a lot of these re-releases are happening anyway. So weak overall competition, I consider that to be a pro. Um I think that's it, really. Okay, cons. Now, this is not the first re-release that's come out in the past few weeks. Last month we had E.T. that re-released, and then like last week we had Rogue One, which also re-released. So let's look at those really quickly for comparison's sake. I think E.T. is a more appropriate comparison considering both movies are from one Steven Spielberg. They're both quite old. So I'm going to use those as a comparison. I have to scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Here we go. Well, actually, it started on the 12th. It was like a limited release, and then it went wide. So E.T. Got to scroll again. Scrolling. Okay. Right here, August 12th. So it opened in like less than 400 theaters. I think it was IMAX only. Made $1 million, which isn't terrible for a movie that's been available to watch for decades. But then after that, it kind of fell off. As you can see, it fell 70% despite expanding like twice as many theaters, and it's pretty much just died after that. It did not have a long life. Although these re-releases really don't. They're very much limited. Like they only last like a few weeks, some like 2 weeks. I know the Avatar re-release is expected to have a 2 week engagement, but that can change. I remember like a lot of those like concert movies or like the Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus Best of Both Worlds concert. That apparently only had like a 1 week engagement, but it did so well that first weekend that they expanded it. I think the same thing happened with like the Michael Jackson This Is It. So it's not it's not unheard of for a re-release or like a special event movie to go on longer than it's supposed to. But yeah, E.T. made $1 million and then it fell off. Same thing happened with Rogue One, which happened last week. Now, this re-release was literally just an advertisement for Andor, which is coming out on Disney Plus later this month. But looking at that, that also made $1 million in only like 255 theaters. But I imagine it's gonna take a dip in week 2 because Star Wars is usually, especially newer Star Wars, has been very front loaded, quite very very much front loaded. Because that fandom, man, it happens day one and then it just dies out after that. So yeah, it's clear to me that these re-releases are the type that don't last too long. They're very much like one weekend only movies, essentially. Kind of like anime movies in a way. So, yeah, that's not a very good precedent. That's not great. So I consider that to be a con. Another con is that this movie is nearly 5 decades old. It's nearing 5 decades old, 50 years, which is crazy. But the thing, like, this has been available to watch for so long that one could argue, though some would argue, oh, the novelty, the movie being on big screen is still great, but others would argue against that. They'd be like this movie's been available for so long on all types of media: VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, purchase 4K, streaming, and all that. It kind of kills the magic a bit. So yeah, yeah. I feel like it being available, for so long in so many ways hurts it a little bit. So I would consider that to be somewhat of a con. Another con is that today, as I'm recording this, it's supposed to be this like $3 like thing going on with a lot of theaters in the country, which I imagine would have a detrimental effect unless like a whole bunch of people decide to go to the movies on Saturday way more than they usually do. If they don't, that's gonna suck for everything. Um yeah, so that whole thing could be a problem. So I consider that to be a bit of a con. Um, Another con I can think of really is that obviously there's another re-release happening this weekend. That's the No Way Home re-release. That's got a lot more attention. So this feels kind of a bit more of an afterthought. So that's a con. Is there any other cons I can really think of with the Jaws re-release? Can't really think of any. Yeah, I think that's it. So opening weekend. Well, this opening and its theater count is a lot bigger than Rogue One and ET. It's like well over 1,000. So realistically, it should do better, but I don't expect it to be by a whole lot. So, I'm gonna say this is a holiday weekend too, so you have to factor that in. So for 3 day and 4 day, 3 day, $1 to $2 million, and the 4 day, I don't know, 2.5 ish million. I'm thinking it'll be about the same as Honk for Jesus, unless that movie completely bombs, which is very likely now. Considering I've seen that movie cinema score as a C minus. Yikes, that's terrible. So you know, Honk for Jesus' loss might be Jaws re-release's gain. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm gonna say it's gonna be about the same. And it's total 3, 4, 5 million. That's what I see it. So that's where I see it heading. So yeah. That's the Jaws re-release. One more movie to talk about this weekend. Thank God. There's too many. I hate weekends where it's like 4 or 5 movies. It's a nightmare for me. But the last one, which should no doubt be the biggest of the 4, No Way Home, the more fun stuff version. Get to talk about that. So stay tuned for that. That will come very soon. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. If you want to check out more videos like this, I got playlists on the homepage. Fill out previous prediction videos I made this year. I haven't done, I think this is the first real re-release I've done this year. I think. Yeah, yeah. Yes, it is. It won't be the last, obviously, with No Way Home being re-released this weekend. Not to mention Avatar being re-released 3 weeks from now. All because the calendar is so empty, so desperate for content that movie studios are re-releasing movies that are like either less than a year old or more than 10 years old or 50 in the case of Jaws. So yeah, yeah. But if you want to watch any of the past prediction videos I made this year, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. uh haven't done a cancel episode in over a week, which is a rarity. I'm kind of glad about that. There's 151 episodes right now. So if you want to watch all those episodes, go right ahead. Binge it from beginning to now. Highly encourage it. Go do that. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. August recap will come out next week after Labor Day is over. And then after that, about a week after that, I'll make my 2-part summer 2022 recap where I go over, obviously, go over the winners and losers of summer. That should be very interesting. So stay tuned for those videos. I might as well mention some September recap that will come out first week of October. So look forward to all those videos. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've done on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.